Welcome to the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast, where we explore therapy, Kundalini Yoga, and all things holistic wellness. I'm Hannah Zackney, LMFT, International Retreat Leader, and Curious Human. Whether you're tuning into us via social media or any of the major podcast platforms, we're so grateful to have you here. Here's to opening our hearts and exploring life together. So welcome to the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast. We are already giggling and having so much fun, and I guarantee that's what this is going to be, with also some heartfelt moments and some really good tidbits. I know I've got my friend Rachel Hills with me today, and we have known each other for
So long now.
a long time.
Probably like 10 years.
I would say
10.
that. I was going to say 10, but
Yeah.
I'm a horrible judge of
No, I
reference and
think
time.
it's 10.
So, yeah. We've done work together. She's been with the membership. We've been friends. We've been a lot of mutual people in our lives, mutual interests.
Yes.
And I have witnessed her do the walk, approach life full on, and always maintain a zest for just appreciating joy and finding things in her life that fulfill her, and really caring about the people that are in your circle. And
Thank you.
so I have a lot of respect for you, a lot of love for you, and I've wanted you to be here for a while, and I'm so glad that today is the day.
Yes.
Be here.
Thank you so much. I feel the exact same. So, yes.
So good.
Yay.
And on a little professional note, Rachel is a midlife mom in a mid-sized bod. According to this is her bio. And she helps women stop hating their bodies and finally feel at home with themselves. She's married to an angel of a husband and has the 3 coolest kids on the planet. And her hope is that everyone who comes into her orbit leaves knowing they're worthy of love just as they are. And I think I just spoke to that. I think that is how people interact with you. I know whenever I spend time with you, I always feel better. And when I hear how you speak of people in your world, I am always I have the thought that, wow, people are lucky to be in her world. People are lucky to be loved by you.
Thank
so,
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do truly wish that like everybody who is in my orbit, that they feel like they are worthy of love and that they are loved, and that like I love to cheerlead people and just like get them back to a place where they feel so connected with themselves and like that they are so worthy, because I think in a world that kind of tells you you're not enough, like it's so important to like feel that within yourself, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And have you always been that way, or did life kind of shape that for you?
No. No. So when we met, it was about 10 years ago, and I was really struggling. And I didn't understand fully the depth of all of what was going on within me. I had lived a lot of my life disconnected from myself. I felt I was actually just remembering this instance in 8th grade. I was at like junior high camp when through like our church that I went to. And I remember like walking along with these girls and saying to them, "Do you like, I know I'm here right now, but like I'm watching us walk down this road. Like, do you just like ever see yourself outside your body and like while you're walking along?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Oh, interesting." But it's like this little point back to like, wow, I spent a lot of my life absolutely like observing myself from the outside as opposed to actually being in my body. And it was, I don't even think I understand or understood what that was until I met you and started doing work and being able to really connect with what was going on internally, because I was in such like a go mode. I was in fight or flight, and I was like, you just gotta keep moving. You gotta keep moving. You gotta keep doing, or else, like, if you stop, then all of these feelings come up, right? And when you get still, all of a sudden you start realizing like there's a lot happening inside me that I'm afraid of. I was afraid to actually connect with those pieces because there was harm in the past. There was trauma I experienced, and I didn't even recognize it as that until I was like working through it and being like, oh wow, like you can have a childhood that you think of as beautiful and wonderful and still have harm that you
Mhm.
have experienced and worked through, and it doesn't negate the joy and the things you experienced and the
Mhm.
love that you experienced. But it also is like honoring that part that like still might need to work through and tend to that harm, you know? And so when I started doing the work, I really was dealing with kind of like coming through a divorce and some
Mhm.
codependency issues. And I realized that there was a lot of body image issues, a lot of dysmorphia. Um, I couldn't ever like see what my body actually looked like when I would look in the mirror. Like it almost would like, or when I thought of my body, it was like I would see it as bigger and then smaller. Like it's almost like it never stopped and I could like get an image of what I looked like in
Mhm.
my head of like, oh, this is what my body looks like. It was more of like it constantly was shifting in my head and I couldn't like grab hold of what it actually was. And so
Is this in your mind, or is this when
this
you're looking in
yeah,
the
no,
mirror, or
this
this
is
is like
like in my mind. Like,
Mhm.
okay, like if you close your eyes and you're like, okay, this is what like I had like I can see myself in front of myself and I'm like, yeah, that looks like
Mhm.
me. But I couldn't do that. Like I had no tangible like it was always distorted in my brain. And then when I would look in the mirror, it also then
Mhm.
started being like I would hyperfixate on
Mhm.
little nuances about my body, like the what my upper stomach looked like that day
Mhm.
and how like these little minute things about myself that I would hyperfixate on. And like
Mhm.
every day I woke up trying to fix it.
Mhm.
Like something my body was wrong, that's how I felt. My body was wrong. And how today can I do things to fix that problem? And it was constantly like imagine that as like it's my full-time job, right? It's my full-time job to fix this thing that's wrong. And you're trying to do life and you're trying to parent and you're trying to be a good spouse and you're trying to connect with people. And when you are so disconnected from you, it is really difficult to be
Mhm.
connected to anybody else.
Yeah.
Because if you're so like there's a that
Mhm.
shame around myself created such a vast emptiness in between, right? Like here I was on one side and it was like I could not understand what was happening. And I would, you go from 0 to 100 because you're not actually attending to what's happening, right? Like you're not attending to your feelings. You're not like, I'd be go, go, go. And then all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm overwhelmed.
Mhm.
It'd be like these extremes because I didn't actually have like a relationship with myself where I'm like, "Ooh, I'm starting to feel
Mhm.
these things." It was like only when I slammed into it would I actually like acknowledge something was going
The
on.
brick would have to fall on your head, so to
Yeah,
speak. Yeah.
absolutely. But
Mhm.
I also that didn't like it took that and like over and over again and I still wouldn't actually understand what was going on until I
Mhm.
started realizing like in anything when you're healing, right? Like you're healing from, disordered eating or you're healing from infidelity or you're healing from any number of things, right? Childhood trauma. Like you it's like there's canaries in the coal mine of like these different aspects that like you don't realize that these are all interconnected with
Mhm.
each other. When you start healing this one aspect, it starts revealing these things in
Mhm.
this other aspect. It's revealing things in these other things. And like when I first started working on body image stuff,
Mhm.
like I remember you asking me like, "Tell me one thing you love about yourself." And I really tried. I remember really sitting there and being like, "I need to be honest." Like if I keep lying to myself, like what good
Yeah.
is this? And I remember saying, "I know you want me to say something, but I can't think of one thing that I like about myself. I can't." And you were like, "Well, okay, we need to work on that." Like
Yeah.
that's yeah, right. And it was like this moment of like, if I have amazing kids. So I have a 17, 18, 19-year old. I have two girls and a boy, and they're absolutely incredible. Like I'm literally think and am grateful every day
Yeah.
for how amazing they are. Just at the core of who they are, the human beings that they are. And I just thought to myself, like, if my daughters or my son talk to themselves the way that I talk to myself, I would be absolutely devastated because the internal mean girl that was happening uh was she was not nice, and it was like this part of me that was like constantly shaming myself for not being who I thought I needed to be loved, to be worthy, to be accepted. And so it was constantly like forcing and pushing and grinding for this version of myself that I thought was like that person. Once I got to that ideal, then I would be loved, or then I would be accepted. Then I would feel good about myself once I got to that body.
So like kind of in that like I'm gonna fix. There's a problem I've identified.
Yes.
It's me.
Right.
I
It's
need to.
me.
I
I'm the
need to.
problem. Yes.
I need to fix me.
Yes.
But that's impossible to do because I'm probably not fixable at some level.
Right.
So that's just a perpetual. And then it's like I need to do this as fast as I can.
Yes. Obviously.
So there's a race and there's a
Always.
hustle.
Yes.
And then you can't slow down to feel. So this just exacerbates
Yeah.
a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
And so an element of this was already, and let's go back like from the very
Yeah,
beginning. You said like eighth grade, you said you remember being kind of like pulling yourself and
Yep.
and you literally asked your friends.
Yeah. I said out loud to them.
That's crazy. Because that's amazing.
Yeah.
But that is so even then, there was a part of you that was aware
Yeah.
of your disconnect.
Yes.
You were aware of
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, in 8th grade, that was a moment, but it was like I brushed it aside,
Right.
But it actually, and it's so funny because like obviously we're on a podcast now, and I feel like
But you remember that moment too.
yes,
So you
yes,
brushed it aside, but
Yeah.
it stayed.
yes, absolutely. And it's like
Mhm.
this like, oh, but I remember like I'm a kind of person that like I can listen to a podcast and be changed forever.
Yes.
It's just one of those things. Like I love
Well,
to
you're
like
here to learn
Right.
and to grow.
I
And that's
love-
who you are.
I love learning. I love learning new things. Like I'm constantly, it's like it's so fun for me because I love to like learn new things about
Mhm.
myself. And I remember hearing, and they were actually talking about intimacy,
Mhm.
and they were talking about how this woman who had struggled with disordered eating as well, how she had never actually felt in her body when she was intimate with her husband.
Mhm.
And I like jaw dropped, and I was like, I don't think I've ever been in my body while intimate.
Mhm.
And it was like there's all of these awarenesses, right? It's almost like these little droplets in the water. It's like making these ripples and realizing like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, like how much time have I spent not giving myself the joy or these moments that really are like powerful moments and important moments, and
Mhm.
I'm holding myself in the space that is like, I don't know if it was even protection
Mhm.
or what it was. I think it was I felt unsafe in my body.
Mhm.
That was like a huge aspect, is that I did not feel safe. And so of course I was running from being in my body because
Yeah, I can't land. I'll be in there.
yeah,
So
and if I'm in there,
yeah.
there's things in there that I know are tender,
Mhm.
and I might be overwhelmed by it. And I
Mhm.
don't actually feel like I can touch this piece without without drowning in it,
Mhm.
And that is a really scary place if you don't
Mhm.
know that you can hold you,
Mhm.
right? So really learning that and being able to work through coming back to myself.
Mhm.
And EMDR was huge
Mhm.
in my healing,
Mhm.
huge in my healing for all of these different aspects that I was like touching into and realizing how they were interconnected,
Mhm.
and realizing that trying to fix my body was really about not feeling safe in my body and seeking
Well,
that
it's not
safety.
escaping your body. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I was trying to escape from being in my body, but it also was like, if I get to this point, then I can be there. It was
Mhm.
almost like once I get there, then I'll feel these things,
Mhm.
then I'll feel safe enough because I'll be accepted and loved, and people
Well,
will
and
look
it's
at me.
also a resistance to I'm not going to feel these things. I'm only going to let myself feel when I get to this place where I'm going to feel these desirable states, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Mhm. What did your behaviors look like as far as and like
Mm.
how when did you
Yeah.
notice? Because it's a little bit of a, I'm just wondering if you had anything when you look back now, even your childhood, or did you notice how you might have adopted and little behaviors that started to build into a bigger disorder?
Yeah. So when I was 16, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's.
Hmm.
And at that point, I was in a bigger body for a teenager. And I remember going to the doctor and he said, "You have the metabolism and the cholesterol of a 40-year-old." And I was 16. And so all of a sudden things like he was like, "You need to address eating."
Hmm.
And that was kind of like, again, when you're disassociated and when you're not in your body, I could eat and eat and eat, and I never felt full.
Hmm.
And then I would get to the point where I actually would be sick. Like I would just eat until all of a sudden I'd be like, I'm throwing up and I don't know why.
Hmm.
And it wasn't like a like binge purge. It literally was just like I actually couldn't feel my hunger or fullness cues because I was so disconnected. So I would just, I would eat and then I'd kind of feel sick.
Hmm.
And I would, it was just kind of my normal.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden it was like this acknowledgement of like, oh, I'm eating things that I can't like that.
There's a causation that's
Yeah, that
happening.
like I need medication for this thing to help
Mhm.
my metabolism, but also the things I'm eating are also causing cholesterol to be high and
Mhm.
all these things. So all of a sudden I was making ground turkey and my mom was making ground beef and she would like give me some of the sauce from, and I was
Mhm.
starting to eat different. And I didn't really like that wasn't even a big deal. Like to me, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
And then they tested it
fine,
and they were
well
like,
done.
cool, you've adjusted a few things
Mhm.
but it wasn't like, oh, now I need to like
Mhm.
shift these things or like, oh, I don't like the way I never even really acknowledged what my body looked like other than I remember even
Well, that's
like
kind of a blessing. So
it
you didn't
was.
have the outside culture putting any sort of weird.
No. I
Yeah.
mean, I had moments, right? Like I walked into my kitchen. I think I was in 8th grade at this time. I walked into my kitchen to my mom my brother telling my mom how fat I had gotten. I remember that. So, like, I remember things, but I was like, "What?" Like, I didn't it wasn't like a
Mhm.
cognitive, like, "That makes sense," or "I'm applying that," like, that
Mhm.
taking that on. It was just kind of like, "Well, what a jerk."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
"What's this guy doing over here?" You know?
Definitely.
But it was more when I started, like my body started shifting at high school. And I got a lot of compliments about my
Mhm.
body shifting. And then I got married super young and my body started shifting again. And then I went on my first like full diet, like was like, okay, I need to change
Mhm.
my body. My body is like, I'm not fitting into clothes. I'm not, and that kind of started the just like the hyperfixation of
Mhm.
like here I'm tracking every calorie. I've tried every diet. Like I've been on I I really honestly can't count, but I would guess around 15 different diets.
Mhm.
And it was just diet cycling, just
Mhm.
constantly diet cycling because
Mhm.
again, it would like work for a little bit and I would start getting compliments and I'd
Mhm.
start like getting that outside validation, which
Mhm.
was like a drug within itself.
Mhm.
And then I wouldn't be able to maintain it because it was so restrictive, right? And then I would be like, well, that diet didn't work then. Now I
Mhm.
need to go to a different one and I need to be more restrictive and I
Mhm.
need to have, I can't eat fruit and I can't like if anything says that you should not eat fruit, this is a like
Right.
red flag stop. Like this is do
So
not pass go.
fast forward to now, like how do you what are do you have rules on yourself at all?
No.
Or
In fact, so jumping forward, when I came out of my I was severely restrictive for an entire year. It was really detrimental.
unhealthy?
Yeah,
Mhm.
for my mind, for like I was the most unhappy I was in the smallest body I was ever in. And
Well,
and
that's a lot of realization too. Like
oh,
here I am at this
huge.
place
Yeah.
that
Oh,
has been the goal to achieve, and I'm still
right.
miserable. Yes.
And what's so interesting about that too is, like I was like working out super hard and I was super restrictive with my eating. And I was in this really, really small body. And I then all of a sudden started having moments of like pure panic of like, I could do everything that I possibly can do, and my body still won't look what I like, how I want it to look. So then I started hyperfixating and following people on Instagram that were plastic surgeons. And then I started being like, okay, well, now I need
Yeah,
this.
and when is this going to end? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop because you're constantly looking for this thing outside yourself of like this ideal thing. And it's like, and like, it's just so much energy. Like that was literally like all I thought about. It was
Yeah.
all consuming.
Well,
in
and
my
thank you for
brain.
saying it and laying it out, because I think it's so important for other people that are going through it. It's not, it's unfortunately not a unique path.
No.
It's not a unique progression to
Yes.
get to this place.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Because I think that when you are looking for, I think it took me a really long time to understand that I was always looking for that outside validation.
Mhm.
How I was raised was very, like, very, very conservative, but also pretty restrictive in like religious wise.
Mhm.
And a lot of it was looking outside yourself for like, you shouldn't trust yourself. You shouldn't
Mhm.
trust what you're feeling. You shouldn't, because that could be something wrong. That could be
Mhm.
the devil leading you somewhere.
Mhm.
Or, and it was hard,
Well, those two combined together would be certainly understandable as to why you
right?
would disconnect from your own intuitive voice, from your
Totally.
own trusting of your,
No, because you couldn't
yeah.
trust yourself because
Mhm.
that could be wrong.
Mhm.
And it could be even evil or, and it
Could
could,
be, right? But
yes,
then that's even confusing because it
very
could be. I
confusing.
don't know. Is it? Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
Right.
exactly, like, who's the judge of that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
trusting yourself?
Yeah.
Like, it's
My
so
not trusting
wild.
myself has 15 now questions to it.
Yes,
So that's even more confusing and just,
exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
destabilizing.
So it was yes, and so I realized, like, as I was coming out of it, as I was coming out of the most restrictive that I had ever been, I allowed myself everything. Nothing
Hmm.
was off the table.
Hmm.
So I actually didn't even know
Did you do that intuitively, or did you do that like, was
it was
that
kind of
finally
like
like, I'm done, I'm just going
yeah.
to do whatever and see
It
what happens?
yeah, it was I
Mhm.
read a book. I read a book because
Mhm.
I love no, I wanna learn all the
Yes.
things, right? Like, if I'm
Oh
like
man, another story can teach us so much.
I
And
know,
yes. Yeah.
exactly, like, give me all the things.
Mhm.
I wanna know,
Mhm.
and it was talking about how basically, like, we have our baseline,
Yeah.
and then, like, pretty much if we eat around the same things, like, we're just kinda gonna be in a
Yeah.
state, like
Just your set point and
yeah,
just kind of like
just kind of like your
moderation, go
homeostasis.
from
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
And so I really like for months, it took me months
Hmm.
of allowing myself like pasta. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
I ate
Oh, the
pasta.
forbidden foods,
Oh,
right? Yeah.
every forbidden fruit. First of all, because I
Yeah.
hadn't eaten like fruit for a year,
Yeah.
I had an acai bowl every day for like 6 weeks.
Yep.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm going to eat so much fruit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
It was like, that's what I love getting to a place, especially with like clients too, where all of a sudden things are neutral, right?
Mhm.
They're not forbidden, they're not bad. You
Mhm.
just, they're there and you can eat it or not eat it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't actually
Yeah.
give you that like, oh my gosh, I'm eating something
Yeah.
like I shouldn't be eating.
Yeah.
Like I can have ice cream in my freezer for months, have
Mhm.
no problem, and then be like, okay, I want ice cream today. Serve myself up a bowl, actually enjoy it, sit
Mhm.
there, feel it, be like, this is so yummy, and then like not touch it again. Whereas
Absolutely.
like I wouldn't even have anything in my house
Oh,
that
so that mindset of restriction and I can't trust myself
I
again.
can't
And
trust
yeah,
myself.
can't
I
be
can't
here.
trust myself.
Can't be
Yeah.
left alone with this. No.
Absolutely, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm always gonna make the wrong choice if that is there, right? I'm
And
always
it's in control. It has more power than
absolutely,
I do.
absolutely.
So when did that start to shift that you started to realize I have the power? My intuitive voice
Right.
does have the insight.
It was like it's an interesting thing because looking back on it, there was lots of factors that got me to a place where I was kind of like in this like in a stew of
Mhm.
like these aspects of things all working together to
Mhm.
create this like place where I could really actually heal
A
from the things.
readiness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
readiness, right? I got to that point where it was like this aha moment where I was like, I I need to like be okay
Mhm.
for my kids. I
Mhm.
want to be I don't want to freak out because my husband bought me pizza and I
Mhm.
felt like he was sabotaging me because he like thought of me and
Yeah.
bought me my gluten-free pizza that I can eat. And like,
Yeah.
it was these moments of that, but it was also like, okay, how do I get to a place where I feel safe in my body,
Mhm.
how that I can trust myself? And it really was like it was EMDR, it
Mhm.
was therapy, it was um really working and allowing myself to be like, okay, what would I like to eat if I just could eat?
Mhm.
Without thinking about it, without tracking,
Mhm.
without calorie counting every single
Mhm.
thing. Because I'm telling you, I'd be making breakfast and I'd be like, there's 70 calories in this egg. This is if I
Mhm.
have one egg
Mhm.
yolk plus these egg whites. And then I'd be like, doodle-doo, 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 and it was constant like
And it takes so
calculation.
much energy in your brain. It takes so
I
much.
had no hobbies.
I believe you.
No hobby. That was my whole
And
hobby.
likely no joy.
No, it was
Mhm.
very joyless. And what was so weird, and it's something I want to note because I actually was in a really healthy relationship. Like my husband is so amazing. He is like one of the most amazing people I have ever known in my life. And I was in this really healthy relationship and still in this very unhealthy relationship with myself,
Mhm.
and that was weird because I felt like I'd been in a not great relationship with another person, right, in my
Mhm.
previous marriage. And I thought that that was the problem, was like I wasn't
Mhm.
in a healthy
So you have
relationship.
different signs that
Yeah.
I have more ownership of this.
Yes.
And my
Yeah.
circumstances, to your credit, you're
Yeah.
choosing better, you're choosing more supportive people, you're
Right.
choosing a better
Yes.
environments,
Absolutely.
but yet there's still like, and it's here I am. Wherever you go, there you are, right?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you can only kick the can down the road for so long till you got to pick it up,
Yeah.
or you make your children pick it up.
Yeah.
You know? That's the reality of the situation, is like
Yeah.
if you don't own your shit.
Well, and having kids, there's nothing that will get you to fix it. I mean, that's why I
No,
do the work that I do. I
truly.
went back to grad school to become a therapist when I had kids because I
Yeah.
was like, somebody's got to fix this so it doesn't get passed down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I
Mhm.
can see that in my children, and it just like it makes me want to cry just because
Mhm.
they are like literally so like all of them have stuff, they all
Mhm.
have stuff that they have worked through and gone through.
Mhm.
But man, it is like the most beautiful aspect to be like teaching them to trust themselves,
Yeah.
teaching them to see their value, to see that it is inherent, that they are worthy, that they can trust, like that they are capable
Yeah.
and resourceful and that they can figure it out,
Yeah.
and me having that trust in them, like because now I know what it's like to trust myself,
Yeah.
then I can also be like, guess what? Like I see you as capable,
Mhm.
I
And
see.
therefore they will be. 'Cause
Right.
yeah.
Because they rise to that occasion.
Mhm.
But it's like when I was in my state of like, I was so at war with myself
Mhm.
that those relationships were so much more strained because if I can't trust myself, how can I trust you?
Mhm.
How can I trust that you're going to make the right decision? Because I won't even trust myself. Right. So it was very tumultuous, but coming out of that and really working on trusting what my hunger and fullness cues
Mhm.
were, really listening to what my body was saying. And actually, and you've commented on it before too, I love my hammock. My hammock is like sacred. I have a sacred hammock in my
You
garden.
do.
I
You make
do.
a hammock look like I always am like, well, I need to get in a hammock
As
every time.
I'm telling you, because I've never met a woman, in every single person that I have coached through body stuff
Mhm.
has never ever given themselves space to rest.
Mhm.
And there is these things that are very indicative of having body dysmorphia, disordered eating. And it's like a constant state of like, I must be doing more, or I'm not enough, or people are going to perceive me as not doing enough.
Mhm.
And I read this quote once that was like, I've never met a rested woman. And I was like, mm-mm, I'm changing that. I'm going to be restful. Like
Yeah.
I need to actually attend to myself. And if I'm listening to my body, I need to listen when I'm hungry, when I'm full, when I need rest, when I need to move, when I right? Like I need to
Mhm.
respond to these things and really take like attend to myself. Like
Mhm.
I would even ask myself because it was hard. Again, like this in between, like you have like the before
Mhm.
and you have like where I am now, where it's so integrated that I don't even
Mhm.
think about some of the stuff anymore, right? Like I'm just like, I eat and then I stop eating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think about like, oh, I shouldn't eat that, or I should
Mhm.
eat this, or I need to do this. It's like, what feels good to me today? What
Mhm.
actually is going to be
Mhm.
honoring to me today? And that's how I would start my day. I'd be like, okay, what does my body need today? Like, do I need rest? Do I need fun? Do I need to
Mhm.
do some art?
Mhm.
Do I need to like go swim? Do I need to
Mhm.
go meet up with a friend? Do I need
Yeah.
connection? Right? And I would ask myself, like, what do I actually need
Yeah.
today? And it helped me like answer my own question, like, oh, like, okay, trust that if all of a sudden I'm just like my eyes are drooping and I can't, like
Mhm.
being like laying down flat,
Mhm.
like honestly, I was like, what if I just lay here? What if I
Mhm.
allow myself to just,
Well, it gives you the space to feel. I mean, if you're like on the
I mean,
go,
that's it.
you're
That's
not
it.
in your body.
No,
You
you
can't
can't.
think your feelings. You have to feel through them and
Yes,
process. And I think,
absolutely.
even I mean, I love therapy, but even talking about them sometimes it's like that's not the same as feeling them. Like
Absolutely.
you have
I
to
didn't know
have
the difference between that, Hannah.
yeah. Yeah.
Honestly,
Well,
like
a lot of people don't.
I literally thought,
I still struggle with it. I mean, we all it's very tempting
yeah,
to just bypass them.
because I'm like, I can
Yes.
intellectualize
Yeah.
why I'm feeling the ways I'm
Amen.
feeling,
Yeah.
what's happening. And I did not realize
Yeah.
until I started working with EMDR and then going into breath work, which
Yeah.
was something that
Yeah,
really,
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
connected me into my body and let me, oh,
Further tool to
yes.
just take you straight in.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that it was like something that it was just a practice that I came back to like every day. Like, okay, how do I let myself feel what's coming up right now?
Mhm.
And I had like, I don't know if I honestly, sometimes I'm like, did I come up with that or did I
Yeah.
hear it somewhere? But I have what I call like it's like the chairs on your chest. And
Mm.
I put like when I come to myself and I'm like, okay, I'm in my hammock or I'm outside and I love being outside. Anytime in
Mhm.
nature, it like feels like
Same.
I can get
Mhm.
that noise of like what I am hearing other people
Mhm.
saying and like really come to like my voice.
Mhm.
And I just allow myself, I think of like little chairs on my chest and I'm like, okay, what am I feeling right now? And I just allow like those versions of myself, right? Like maybe they're little versions of me, like
Mhm.
me as a little girl or me now, right? Like, and I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling like I did it right before I came in here,
Mhm.
right? Like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling really excited, but I'm also feeling nervous. So excited
Mhm.
gets a chair, nervous gets a chair. And then I was like,
So you do your own little internal
I
parts work.
I do, yeah. I'm like,
Like,
okay,
yeah.
all my little parts are sitting on their
Mhm.
little chairs.
Mhm.
And what I realize is like sometimes there's nothing to be done.
Yeah. They're just all here's your committee. We're all
Yes.
gonna go in together and
Yes. And it's just acknowledging that they're
Mhm.
there and allowing space to like be like, I see you. I see you. Like, oh, I have like a little for a while, I had a lot of betrayal. Like I had like
Mhm.
betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. And I was like,
Mhm.
man, you're all right. You're still here. You're hanging around. What do you need from me? Right. Like when something hangs out a little longer, then I'm like, do you need me to have
Yeah.
a
Well, this goes into the
conversation?
radical self-acceptance, right? And
Yes.
to not
Yeah.
judge. I mean, this chairs is a really good 'cause visually. I think
Oh,
everybody could probably go.
yeah.
I'm suffocating from these chairs, or there's one chair that's right on the. It's
Oh,
taking my breath away, right?
yes. Yeah.
So we all have that, but
Yeah.
it's also recognizing. I woke up again, and I really hoped that chair would be gone, and it's
Mm,
actually pressing a little bit more today.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then to not be tempted to remove it or do it or overpower it or to
Yes.
just go lay in the hammock and let's
Yes.
let and feel the chair. And it does not mean to be in that. And I know you don't, but it does. I mean, there might be a day or a season where you actually do need to just sit with it longer.
Mhm.
But most people need to go out and do their life. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm going to go lay in the hammock for
Yes.
a half an hour
Yes.
or an hour or
Yeah.
the afternoon or whatever you're
Yeah.
doing, and then I'm going to go in and make dinner for my kids, or and
Yeah.
then I'm going to go do
Absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah. I'm
Right?
gonna do
Mhm.
life. But I think it's like just acknowledging it and just being with it, allowing
Mhm.
yourself to feel sad, allowing
Mhm.
yourself to feel whatever emotion is coming out,
Mhm.
angry, like
Mhm.
whatever emotion it is, letting yourself feel it, it actually takes so much less time because I think
So much less time.
I think that when you are in pain because
Mhm.
of the feeling, it's
Mhm.
actually in the not feeling it, in the
Mhm.
resistance to feeling it that you feel the pain.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's when you actually
Well,
allow
it's the
yourself.
tension that you're
Yes,
creating.
because
Yes.
you're not acknowledging or not allowing.
And you're also like probably have a big story in your head that's actually shaming you, telling yourself you
Yes.
can't do it, telling yourself all this like
Why you shouldn't be feeling this
mhm,
way.
mhm,
This isn't,
mhm.
this is, yeah, exactly.
And none of that feels good
No.
either.
Well, and it keeps you in a cycle of stuckness, really, because you're creating a division between yourself. Because if you're saying, I'm shaming myself for feeling this thing that is a very human thing to feel,
Mhm.
then you're creating dissonance between yourself. You're at war
Oh,
with yourself.
absolutely.
And so it's like acknowledging it and being like, cool, there's betrayal there.
Mhm,
I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to allow
mhm,
myself to feel it. And then if it's still like present,
mhm,
what is it asking me to do? Because
mhm.
sometimes it needs action.
Yeah,
Sometimes it just needs presence,
yeah.
but sometimes it needs action. Maybe it
Well,
needs to
you need
be,
to that's the beauty of recognizing something.
yes,
One of the sayings you've heard me say a million times, if you don't know where you are, you go in circles, right? So you
absolutely.
have to, I mean, I think people just uh, don't give this enough credit that like you sitting there just to feel your feels is part of it and
Yeah,
letting them process,
absolutely.
letting them move through.
Yes.
But at the backside of that, I mean, one, you're right. It doesn't take as long as we normally think it does. I mean, it doesn't feel great all the time, but it's worth it
No.
because you come up with just where you're going, I think, is you're coming up with you are actually then able to put some healthy distance rather than
Yes.
avoidance distance from it.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
choosing to like,
Yeah.
that was then, I've felt it, I can move on versus it's right there. I haven't processed it and I need to kind of like keep pushing it away. I always imagine, the beach ball that I've told you,
Yep.
that you just keep the beach ball up here, like this is
Yeah.
the thing. And then that's really, really tiring. How are you going
Exactly.
to sleep when you're doing this all the time? Right.
Exactly.
So letting it just have that space,
Yeah.
and then you usually come up with after the space going, and now I know how to not put myself there anymore. Now I know what I need to do. Now I know the boundary. Now I
Yes.
know the person that I can't
Exactly.
isn't safe in the way that in this environment or whatever the
Absolutely.
answers are.
Absolutely. That active
Yes.
pushing away,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
that can literally be so exhausting because
Mm-hmm.
it's an active, it's not
Mm-hmm.
passive. I'm not passively not feeling this thing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
actively not feeling
It's
it.
a lot of work
It's a lot
to
of
not
work.
feel it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just having that space for me, it's my hammock because it's like
Mm-hmm.
that space where I can just like allow,
Mm-hmm.
allow and rest and come to myself and be like, oh, I'm kind of feeling off or something's not
Mm-hmm.
right in this. And then I'm like, oh, it's because I'm actually feeling these things. But I would never give myself, I would stand up to eat. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even allow myself to sit down.
Yeah.
And that is another like very universal thing that I see with my clients too is
Yeah.
that they all have that very similar like keep going, keep pushing, don't
Yeah.
feel it, don't allow because what if you acknowledge and this was something that I had to work through and was like the most tender part of it. And I realized I was doing all this fixing. I was trying to get my body into this place because I was really afraid that my husband wouldn't love me if I was in a different body.
Mm-hmm.
That was the story I told
I was
myself.
gonna say, which is completely probably made up by you, right? Yeah.
Absolutely
Mhm.
1000% made up by
Mhm.
me. But when my body did start changing, right? I ended up having a hysterectomy 3 years ago and I got put on a medication before a hysterectomy that made my body change significantly,
Mhm.
very like
Out of your control. Just
out of my
yeah.
control. And it was, I mean, to the point where nothing in my closet fit me that had
Mhm.
fit me 3 months ago.
Mhm.
Like that's a
Mhm.
big change.
And as a woman, that can be a hard thing to go
It
through.
is. It's affronting,
Mhm.
right? Like
I
you
think for
have
anybody, but yes,
right.
yes.
But
Mhm.
it's like I thought I had done and I'd
Mhm.
done all this work on
Mhm.
like, okay, how do I accept myself as I am right
Mhm.
now? Like in
Mhm.
this body right now, this is the body I have for today.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
really not much I can do today to
Mhm.
change what my body looks like.
Mhm.
So what if today I just
Mhm.
let myself be?
Mhm.
Like what if I just enjoyed this
This was
body?
kind of the birthplace of you actually reaching out to help people too,
Yes,
right? Because
absolutely. That was it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you kind of realize like I gotta no more. Like
No.
I gotta do this for myself
Yeah.
because you were in the position to have to do it for
Yes.
yourself.
Because I was
Mhm.
like, I refuse to be at war with myself anymore. I
Mhm.
refuse.
Mhm.
Like, there's all of these aspects that I'm just like trying to like, it's just this struggle. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? I'm creating my own misery.
Mhm.
I'm creating my own misery based on some weird made up story I have in my
Yeah.
head of that, like, if my body doesn't look the most
Yeah.
like perfect that I think it should look, if I'm not constantly striving for that new
Yeah.
thing or that like aesthetic that I want, that somehow that means that I'm unlovable and that everyone that I love is going to leave me.
Yeah.
That was like the story I told myself.
Yeah.
So when after I had gotten put on this medication and quickly shifted bodies, I had to come to my husband and be like, I am afraid.
Mhm.
I'm afraid that you prefer me in a body that is different than I am right now.
Yeah.
Because I preferred myself in a
What a
body that was
vulnerable
different.
thing for you to do.
Oh, it was, I like literally get chills just be thinking about conversation because it was met with so much love and
Mhm.
tenderness. And I'm very grateful. And it, I haven't always had that space, but
Mhm.
I was really grateful because he was like, I don't see you as a before and
Mhm.
after.
Yeah.
I see you as you. You are
Yeah.
you no matter what body you're in. He's like, babe, I'm going to be sponge bathing you at 80.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to be in the
Yeah.
same body
Yeah.
at 80 years old.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to shift. We're
Yeah.
going to change. I'm going to not have hair. We're
Yes.
going to do this. We're going to do that, And it was just this moment of like, okay, I needed to acknowledge that for myself so that I
Yes.
didn't have this like unspoken fear just living inside
Well,
of
and
me.
the reassurance is also important. In this
Yeah,
case, this isn't like you seeking
absolutely.
outside of yourself for your
No.
reassurance. You're seeking your life partner for the
Yes,
reassurance and like,
absolutely.
hey, I need we in this together in this
Yes.
way, and is
Yes.
this okay to do these things?
Absolutely.
Which probably at some level was there, but you
Yeah.
just need that.
Oh, yeah.
And how lucky you are to have that support, and I'm so
Huge.
happy that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just am very, very blessed in that. And he is just constantly and it doesn't mean that he doesn't, because of the stories we tell ourselves are really strong, right? And we can
Mhm.
convince ourselves of lots of things that don't actually exist or are not
Mhm.
real. And I just remember he started asking me questions like, what did you just hear me say?
Yeah. Good.
Because it was the things he would say would be like, I just want you to be healthy. And I heard, you need to not be eating the
You're
things you're eating, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well,
And
that is the straight up eating disorder mindset, right? That is the lie
totally,
of that voice. Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So it was, and
Mhm.
it's just so interesting, like looking at these moments, and it was years of
Mhm.
rewiring
Well,
those
and I'm sure at some
things.
level you're still doing it. I kind of want to just like note too,
Yeah,
because when you speak about the in between, we
yeah,
talked a little bit before we started
yes,
about how it's really easy to say this is how it was, and
right,
then this is where I am
yeah, da da
now.
da.
And yeah, but in that in between, like it makes so much sense to me that you just kind of went this one direction. Like I'm just gonna eat whatever I want. When I finally find like all these multiple diets and doing whatever I want.
Right,
Like I gotta like get in touch with like actually what do I like? What
right.
does
What actually feels good?
yeah?
Yeah,
What feels good? Like
yeah,
we've talked. I struggled with an eating disorder. I
yeah.
had a summer of being burritos, like for the same
I
reason.
love it.
Yeah, this summer I just had as many Taco
Yes.
Bell bean burritos
Yes.
it's just what I
Yeah,
wanted. So
right.
and then I realized, oh, you don't need that many, or like that's not actually like
Right.
I didn't want them
No,
at some point, and it wasn't
exactly.
from a forced position. It was from a place of okay, I know
Yeah.
like maybe I don't even need those today.
Yeah.
Maybe I actually do want an apple. Like I want
Yes.
an apple,
Yes.
right? And then so it's but learning that like it goes from and I don't want to generalize because like where you shared it became like numbers and calories, and that typically is part of it, or scale numbers
Right.
or
Yes.
portion size, or it's
Yeah.
it's a venti versus a tall. I mean, I don't know,
Yes.
people are
Oh,
get
yeah.
very very hung up on something,
Mhm.
and I don't mean that derogatory at all. It's just that's the way that
Oh, yeah.
mindset works,
Absolutely.
right? And then it's also this, and then I can go over here where it's this, perfectly matched thing. And with all your macros exactly. And, like whatever this is,
Mhm.
whatever this is.
Right. Right. Yes.
And in between is really, it's like the learning to stay in the bumpers a little bit, like stay,
Yeah.
because this isn't a static place either.
No.
So when you say it used to be like this, and not you, but like anybody,
Yeah.
and then I would be curious what you would say. It's like it used to be this way, now it's this way. I would say that the this way is actually that space in between
Mhm.
still,
Mhm.
that is like fluctuating with,
Yeah.
how are you aging? What
Yeah.
is the new stage of being a woman,
Absolutely.
the cycles that you're in, the things that maybe the medications that you might need to do, the stress level of your life, are you on vacation? Are you home?
Yeah,
Do you have an injury
absolutely.
where you can't do ABC? I mean, like there's so many variables in here.
So much.
And it isn't that you figured it out. It's you figured out how to figure it out,
Yes,
and you
absolutely.
figured out how to like listen to yourself in this
Yeah.
space.
I think it's also in that in between, in those bumpers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's also, I really had to work on how much shame was a part
Yeah.
of those things. And once I released the shame around what I was eating, what my body looked like,
Mm-hmm.
then it gave me the space to be like, I think that a lot of people look at like the body positivity movement as kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a, well, F this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not, like, I ate all that I wanted. And guess what I ended up doing? I ended up eating pretty normal and pretty healthy and
Mhm. Well, I
working
think that's a
out.
stage. I don't think that's a place to like hang your hat and
No,
stay.
it's not because
But it
it's
is
like
a
the
stage.
pendulum swing,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Like you have
Mhm.
this swing of like super restriction. And to get right, like to get kind of in the middle and like that homeostasis, you kind of do have to create
Yep,
this
yep, yep.
like allow yourself these things.
Yep.
No, like start learning to trust. Like sometimes I would be like, oh, I actually ate more than I needed
Yeah.
to.
And you need to know what that is.
Yeah. And then
Mhm.
sometimes I would be like, I'm not eating enough. I'm so hungry
Mhm.
throughout the day.
Mhm.
And I would be like,
And foggy thinking. And
yes.
like, yeah, not
And
sleeping because I didn't eat enough. Oh,
I
whatever.
didn't know what to eat,
Mhm.
honestly, because I was like, I had been on so many diets, I didn't actually know what was normal eating.
Mhm.
And I was realizing I was eating like a snack for lunch and thinking it was enough
Mhm.
and realizing that was actually not enough food for like my body to sustain me until
Mhm.
later on.
Mhm.
And so it was like really teaching myself, like, I actually care for my body so much more than I did
Mhm.
before, right? Like I tell my kids all the time. I was like, whatever you guys decide if you want kids, I'm not pressuring you to have kids, but I was built to be a grandma. I was built for it. And now like I train to be like a really active grandma.
Yeah.
Like I don't do it for aesthetics. I'm like, I want to be strong, I want to be
So
balanced.
true.
I want to be like mobile.
Yep.
I want to be flexible. I want to be able to go paddleboarding.
That's all the reasons I do it. I'm like, I just want to be able to go do the things I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, honestly, when I look in the mirror, I'm just like, cool. All
Yeah.
right. Good.
Yeah.
Like high five. Like you're in a body and
Yeah.
your body fluctuates. And
Totally.
it's just like being in the space of like, I remember going on vacation with my husband. And at the end of the week, I'm like picking up all my swimsuits that I've laid out to dry, I have like
Yes.
a million swimsuits. And I'm picking up and putting stuff in suitcases. And all of a sudden I go, oh my gosh. And I look at my husband and I was like, I didn't think about my body once this
Mhm.
whole trip.
While you're in a bathing suit.
In a bathing suit,
Yeah.
like literally living my best mermaid life. Like I literally
As
was
you should.
in the ocean every
Yeah.
single day, swimming
Yeah.
along. Literally it didn't
Yeah.
even cross my mind about like watching myself. And I remember even before going on a trip before, and I was still working with you at the
Mhm.
time, and just being like, how do I do this? How do I
Mhm.
go and be in a place where I'm going to see people in different bodies than me?
Yeah.
Because mine was really comparison. It was really, really hard
Mhm.
for me to like see other people in smaller bodies and not be like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And so it was like walking through, having to talk to
Yeah.
myself through it all and continuously being like, I'm okay, I'm safe in my body, like
Yep.
I am loved, I'm cared for, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
And it was just this like jump, like looking back and being like, I remember so hard fixating on like, how am I going to get through this week?
Yeah.
And then to like just be like, oh, wait, like I just actually
Amazing.
I'm just a girl in a body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and there's
Go
all
on a
sorts of
vacation with my
bodies.
husband.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
So
everybody
beautiful.
else has a body and
Yes.
we're all just in bodies and we're just
Yes.
here like enjoying. Cause like
Yes.
what's the point of your body?
Yeah.
Right?
That's how you experience the world, right?
It's how you
experience
experience.
intimacy, love, connection,
Touch, right? Like
nature.
our bodies
Yeah.
are meant to
Yeah.
experience and to be experienced,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we are like what we feel,
Yeah.
what we're observing, how we are. Like that's the whole freaking point. It's
Yeah.
we're not just here to be aesthetically pleasing for somebody
Yeah.
else. And there's also that duality of like, I also don't want to look like a raisin. You
Right.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like I also feel good when I put myself together, and I
Well,
still,
which is
you know,
and we're gonna just have to have a part two, because
yes,
there's all of that where you actually post often about outfits,
I
and you
do.
aesthetics are important to
Yes,
you, and
I love
you
it.
cut hair, and
Yes,
I mean, like, you very much care
yes,
about
absolutely.
how you present, and
I do.
how, and I wouldn't say in a an overly way, but just in a, it's aesthetics are fun,
Yeah,
and
they
they're
are.
playful, they're an
Well, it's an
expression of who
expression.
you are. Yes, and it's an
Absolutely.
expression of who you are.
Yeah.
And I also just want to, for, well, one, just thank you so much for just being so vulnerable and sharing everything.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
it's so reassuring. I know if anybody is listening and is struggling, just to hear the little, oh, me too, and just not feel
Yeah.
alone, and
Oh
to
my gosh.
understand. And I want to stress that, there's some things, if you are listening and you do need help, that, you know, we have a team of EMDR
Yes.
people that are,
Yes.
when I got into this field, my very first work was at an eating disorder clinic, and it became a niche that I worked with for, and still do.
Yeah.
And I know since you doing all of your, so those resources are available, as well as just, we have referrals for nutritionist and functional medicine, and all the things that are necessary if somebody is
Absolutely.
struggling. Um, and then I know Rachel does have some individual work, some group
Yeah.
programs, support, and community. And I wanted to say something about that too. Like, when you were talking about the hammock, and kind of removing yourself, we're in an interesting space in life where a lot of, the internet has brought us together. I mean, our communities are growing a lot. I think there's a little bit more acknowledgement that we need each other in a different way.
So
We're giving,
much.
thank God, right? Giving permission to like lean into each other. And like, you've seen my model work in a lot of different ways. I still love individual therapy, but I do a lot of group stuff now
Yeah.
because I really
Absolutely.
see the power of that. But it is so important to get away and get that solitude, because that's where come in and then remove and
Mhm.
get clear on you,
Yeah.
so you don't lose that inner compass and that inner
Yes.
connection point, and then coming back in. So that just landed on me earlier, and I just want to circle back to that. But before we completely wrap up, I do want, how do you live with your heart wide open, which you've demonstrated in so many ways
I
this
love
whole time, but what would be your
it.
answer?
Okay. So living with my heart wide open for me, it really means like I used to mask a lot too. I used to feel like I had to present, right? Like
Mhm.
that's a lot of what I had to deal with just trying to be in this perfect body or trying to
Mhm.
shift it. And I think that that was also like a protection,
Mhm.
is to be like, if I have this, then I have like kind of armor, you know? And I think that living with your heart wide open is really like knowing that you have you, and being able to open up, that we are not like, we don't heal in a vacuum either,
Mhm.
right? Like we have this space where there are people that can support us
Mhm.
and hear us and love us. But if we keep our heart closed, we miss out on so much of
Mhm.
that experience and those
Mhm.
connections. And so just having our heart open, knowing that if something happens that is
Mhm.
tender or hurtful, that you always have you, you
Mhm.
know, and that actually in those experiences, like just trusting yourself and being able to live very authentically and vulnerably, and knowing that you are safe.
Mm.
So,
It's beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that's just on your heart left, or you feel complete?
No, I think just adding on the tail end of this that like you really aren't alone. There is such
Mhm.
a it can be really isolating
Mhm.
to be experiencing these things and to feel like you are functioning, like you can look like
Mhm.
this isn't a struggle. And I think that for me, I kept telling myself I wasn't sick enough to get help,
Mhm.
because I was like, well, I'm not Benjamin
Comparison again,
Harden.
right?
Yes,
Comparison
right.
again.
And
Mhm.
I was like, I realized that I needed help,
Mhm.
but I kept comparing myself to other people and saying, well,
Mhm.
I'm not that sick, so I'm okay.
Mhm.
And really, even if you have a little dose of this. Like, and there's these little creepy
Mhm.
things that like want to put their talents in you, that seeking help can really shift your whole perspective and be
Mhm.
able to let you live in so much more joy.
Yeah. I mean, it just couldn't agree more. It just robs you of your joy in life and
Yeah.
takes so much of your focus
Yes.
to fight this off. So
Yes.
recovery is available, and I couldn't agree
Absolutely.
more. And we'll put how to reach Rachel, how to
Yeah.
reach me in all the resources on the show notes as we always do.
And you're amazing. Thank
Love
you for
you.
so
Thank
much.
you so much for being here. What a
You've
cool talk.
literally changed my life.
Wow.
I literally tell people all the time, if I had Oprah money, I'd just make everybody have a Hannah. You get a Hannah. You get a Hannah. Everybody have some Hannah
I
time.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And you've taught me so much too.
Oh,
It's
thank
reciprocal.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Love
Good.
you.
Love you. Thank you for joining us on the Heart Wide Open Wellness Podcast. We appreciate your time, energy, and attention. Whether you're watching or listening, please remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Stay up to date with us at heartwideopenwellness.com so you don't miss any upcoming events, offerings, or retreats. Until next time, keep your heart wide open.